The first quarter of the NFL season is officially over for the Texans. And honestly, it was a disappointment. Many people, including myself, thought that this team right now would be, 3-1, 4-0. We thought this was finally going to be the year we beat the Patriots. The Texans then played a Titans team that was extremely injured with a backup quarterback, and they somehow found a way to lose that game. The Giants have struggled all season to put up points on the board, except for the game in which they played the Texans. This first quarter has really been a disappointment for the Texans, even though the Texans finally got their first win yesterday versus the Colts. There's still, some question marks. Now, what we're going to do today is, instead of taking a look at the Cowboys, our Week 5 opponent, I'm going to go back and look at the team, how the players have performed as a unit, how they've performed individually, and, see if they can improve and, move on from there. Anyways, let's start off with coaching. Bill O'Brien, as you guys know, the reason he got extended is 100% because they were putting up almost 40 points a game last season with Deshaun Watson. And this season, that hasn't been the case. And the issue? 100% Bill O'Brien going away from what worked last year and doing what wasn't working in previous years with Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brian Hoyer, Ryan Mallett, Brock Osweiler. He was pretty much using that playbook. Week 4 against the Colts, he kind of went back to that 2017 Deshaun Watson electric offense. Hopefully, he keeps it that way because it works. Romeo Crennel, his defense has really been lackluster if you think about it. Week 1 versus the Patriots, first quarter they got shredded by Gronkowski. In the second half, they only allowed like 6 points, so, I guess that was a decent game. Week 2, they were playing Blaine Gabbert. The game was in reach. It was tied up. And then the Titans get the ball back, and Blaine Gabbert easily drives down the field on his defense. The Giants just completely shredded his defense. Andrew Luck, with one arm and no receiving weapons, completely shredded his defense as well. So, there's definitely some coaching problems going on in Houston. O'Brien is looking like he's finally caved in and threw out his playbook that doesn't work. And, he got back to doing what does work. And Romeo Crennel, legendary coach, obviously, but he's got to do better. He's just got to do better. Now, Deshaun Watson. Week 1, Deshaun Watson, it was concerning. It was pretty bad. It could have been him knocking off the rust. It could have been, numerous different things. But as the weeks have gone by, Deshaun Watson has quickly, improved every single week. And that's really, good to see. Of course, you have some plays where Deshaun Watson throws up a jump ball and you're like, what the hell are you doing, Deshaun Watson? Or times where he holds on to the ball way too long. I know he's been sacked like 17 times through 4 weeks, but I'd say at least half of those are on him holding on to the ball too long, because that is indeed an issue. Deshaun Watson needs to learn when the play is over. Sometimes it's okay to just throw it away, and I understand Deshaun Watson is magical. He, makes these plays out of nowhere, but you gotta understand when the play is over and, just throw it away. He'll learn as he matures in the league. And another thing, these jump balls, I understand you have DeAndre Hopkins, arguably the best wide receiver in the league, but you just gotta know when you can throw them and when you can't, you know? But these are all easily correctable mistakes. I'm not worried about Watson at all, as no one should be. Offensive line. Offensive line has been up and down. They have their moments where you're like, oh, you know what, the offensive line did good there. And they also have their moments where you're like, what the hell? You know, like, they have their terrible moments, but they also have their good moments. They're definitely up and down. In the run game, week 1 and 2, they ran the ball down the Patriots' throat and the Titans' throat, but week 3 and 4, they seem to have struggled with that. Pat Stat over on Twitter, you guys don't follow him, definitely follow him on Twitter, one of the better Texans people to follow on Twitter. He pointed out that week 1 and 2 they played a 3-4 defense, and week 3 and 4 they played a 4-3 defense. So the Texans, they run a base 3-4 defense. So Pat Stat says it's just, you know, the offensive line having to get used to blocking a 4-3 defense. Hopefully that's what it is. Hopefully it's not bigger issues, because it does seem strange to me that week 1 and 2 they lead the league in rushing, and then week 3 and 4 the run game is non-existent. Pass blocking wise, again, inconsistent. A lot of the sacks are indeed on Watson, just straight up holding onto the ball too long, but the offensive line has its moments where they just let them get through immediately. Now, Pat Stat also pointed out that the offensive line really struggles on stunts, and that 100% is on chemistry. That will get better when these players have played more games together. Now, ranking, he is probably our second worst offensive lineman. Julian Davenport is by far the worst. The guy is just terrible. I'm not even sure if him going to left tackle would even fix that. I think the guy's just brain dead, honestly. I mean, all those false start penalties, like, that's bad. And then Sunil Kalameti, I know a lot of people give him a bunch of, you know, stuff for constantly falling down, but the thing I like about Sunil Kalameti is, no matter what, even if he gets knocked down, he's still on the floor trying to finish his block. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure you guys can, you know, look at some game film or just pay attention to him, and if he gets pushed down, he'll still be trying to block. It's kind of good to see, because to me, Sunil Kalameti is just an average player. He is not good, but he's also not bad. You can definitely upgrade over him, but you can also get way worse than him. See Xavier Sofilo. Nick Martin, he's really good, man. He's a good pass blocker, above average run blocker. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone knew this going into the season. Zach Fulton, he's had a few plays where he's kind of been disappointing to me, because when he came in, I expected him to be like a straight up monstrous pass blocker, but I think he's like allowed 2 sacks, and one of them was 100% on him. He just missed his block. But, you know, for the most part, he's done good. He's actually been, or actually week 1 and week 2, he was somewhat surprising me in the run game, because he was pegged as a straight up, solely a pass blocker, not a run blocker, but he does have the ability to push some people in the run game, which is kind of came to me as a surprise. Julian Davenport, I already said it, terrible. Kendall Lamb, bro, surprisingly, this guy, he looked way better in this Colts game than he ever did. He looked better than Davenport. But I'm still not 100% convinced, you know. How many times has it not happened? You know, he's got to do it more for me to believe in him, especially considering where he came from and what he's done in the past. Tight ends, Ryan Griffin, he's accounted for like 2 sacks. He's not a good blocker at all. He's not a good run blocker. He's not a good pass blocker. Receiving wise, he hasn't really had many opportunities. Same thing as Jordan Thomas and Jordan Akins. Jordan Thomas has really been the one that has stood out these first 4 weeks. I think he really needs more opportunities to catch the ball and do something with it. DeAndre Hopkins, we know what he is. He is a beast, still a beast. Will Fuller, he was a beast last year. He's been a beast this year. Kiki Coty, if you guys watched yesterday's video, the recap of the Colts game, this was his first game played and he did pretty good. Hopefully he continues doing good. In terms of the offensive line, I know a lot of people were like, fix the offensive line, but as bad as the Texans' offensive line was in 2017, this offensive line was never ever going to get fixed in one offseason. This is a 2-year process. This year, they addressed the interior line. They got Sunil Kalametti and Zach Fulton, who were doing pretty well, along with Nick Martin. And next offseason, if Kendall Lamb / Julian Davenport and Martinez Rankin don't work out, then they'll go get some offensive tackles. They're still young players, Martinez Rankin in particular, and Julian Davenport, so there's still a chance, a really good chance, that they'll improve throughout the season and, you know, do better than they've been doing. If it was an 11-year vet we had an offensive tackle and he was struggling, then, you know, by all means, replace them. But they're rookies. Yes, you hate to see them struggling because it does get Deshaun Watson hit. But, you know, keep in mind, Taylor Lewan for the Titans didn't get good till like around year 3. Dwayne Brown, his first year as a rookie, he was absolutely terrible. It does take time, guys, so hopefully we're rewarded with some good offensive tackle play down the stretch of the regular season and hopefully into the playoffs, but highly doubt it. Anyways, defensive line. J.J. Watt, man. I think he might be back. Hopefully he's back. He definitely deserves to be back. I mean, 5 sacks in the last 2 games. Yes, it's against 2 terrible offensive lines, but, you know, again, it's good to see J.J. Watt back out there. Jadeveon Clowney didn't play week 2, really struggled week 1 and week 3. Week 4, he finally looks like he's back. Whitney Merciless, still not quite there. Looked better week 4 than he did week 1, 2, and 3. Hopefully he comes back soon. Covington has been out like 2 weeks, I believe. Week 1 he was like dinged up. He played some, but not also. Christian Covington hasn't like really came back yet. Angelo Blackson and Brandon Dunn have done a good job of filling in for him. And DJ Reader, I mean, he's DJ Reader. What can you expect from him? The linebackers, Cunningham has somewhat struggled in coverage, and I say somewhat because he did a way better job week 4. Week 1, 2, 3, he was, yeah, pretty bad, but I think he did good against the Colts. He struggled tackling early on, but, you know, hopefully that improves. Bernardrick McKinney. I mean, he's just a run stuffer, nothing really else. Dylan Cole is out for a significant time. Do not know if he's out for the season. Hopefully he's not. Hopefully he comes back, because I know he has like a knee injury or knee surgery he's going to have, in addition to his dislocated wrist. Overall, I do think the front 7 can do a better job of putting pressure on the quarterback. Hopefully, you know, as Merciless, Clowney, and Watt start really knocking off that rust, hopefully it gets better. But, you know, they need to do better. Secondary. Yikes. It's bad. Jonathan Joseph last week against the Colts, he allowed like 180 yards. I think it was like 186 to be exact. It was pretty bad. It was like on 14 targets. Joseph, I think he's done. Week 1 through 3, he was alright, nothing special. But week 4, he really showed that he's washed up. Now, Sharice Wright, I know a lot of people have been, you know, saying he's part of the problem too. I disagree. I think he's done a pretty decent job fitting in, especially when you consider he came off the streets in like week 2. Kevin Johnson obviously probably out for the season. His career is probably over. I mean, 2 concussions in a span of 3 weeks. That's not good. Aaron Colvin, he was seen in the locker room with crutches, so yeah, the secondary, the corners in particular, are looking pretty damn banged up, pretty bad, washed up. Hopefully, Kayvon Webster is able to come back pretty soon because they really need him, because this cornerback group isn't good, and they need some players because some players are injured. There's no longer anyone in free agency that can help the Texans at this position. Breland is a Packer now, so yeah, what we have at corner is kind of what we're going to have to deal with for the rest of the season. Hopefully the front seven is able to really get going and make up for it. Safeties, though, I thought Kareem Jackson has done a pretty good job. Tyrann Mathieu also done a pretty good job. There has been, some plays where, like, come on, you gotta do better than that. But, for the most part, I think Tyrann Mathieu has really taken over as a leader on this team. And Kareem Jackson looks better at safety than he's looked since, probably 2014. And Justin Reed, he's a fine young player. I really like that we drafted him. He's going to be a good player in this league for years to come. Special teams, wow. Besides that touchdown, that fake punt that the Titans did on us in week 2, special teams has been pretty good, man. I know a lot of people were mad that the Texans got rid of Shane Lechler, but it was for the right reasons. Trevor Daniel is a better punter than him. The special teams has just been surprisingly good. Maybe that's what happens when you get a proven, experienced special teams coach. So, overall, this team has some huge issues. Young offensive tackles that struggle, aging defensive backs like Jonathan Joseph, injuries at that position. Yeah, well, whatever we thought of the team going into the season, that, hopefully the offensive tackles were improved and, maybe the corners would be better. Well, the corners have really not been better, and especially now that injuries have piled up at that position. And the offensive tackles, what they've been, not so good either. They've had their moments, but for the most part, I'd say not good. And overall, in general, this team has been not good. 1-3. We lost. Pretty much every game was winnable. The Patriots, they're not a good team in September. The Titans, despite their 3-1 record, they're not a good team, especially when we played them. The Giants, they're 1-3. They're also not a good team. The Colts, we almost lost to them, and they're not a good team. So what does that say about the Texans? They're not a good team, guys. And, it sucks to say, but hopefully they can get it turned around this week versus the Cowboys. Get to the 2-3 record, and then, you have the Bills the week after that. And hopefully they can get to 3-3. Hopefully this win versus the Colts, despite it being ugly, is what jumpstarts the team. I don't know. I'm just hoping right now, because the way this team has been playing, they're not going to win many games. So that's all I already have for you guys today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.